What's going on, everybody? So today we are going to be talking about how we helped Ryan transform his physique in 2 months at 38 years old, okay? Now, the first thing I want to bring up to you guys is that this video is not going to be for you if you are not willing to make that change. If you are struggling with walking with confidence, if you are struggling with finding purpose, I'm telling you, and you want to get out of that situation, but you are not willing to actually change and have that mindset shift, this video is not going to be for you, okay? So again, there's two versions of ourselves, right? The version of us that stays the same and continues to go down this path. And then there's the version of us that's successful, has everything we ever wanted, that dream physique, right? But what we have to realize that every single decision in our life that we take, every single step of the way is leading us somewhere. So if you are not ready to take this information and use it to become this version of yourself, then this video is not for you. But if you are ready to change, let's continue. All right. Let me move myself over here. Cool. So this is going to be the same way that all my guys have made their transformations, okay? We got Wilson here, Josh, Kyle, who's also 48 years old, Jack, Esteban, Zach, and there's more guys. This is what I could just fit on the page, all right? So more information on Ryan. So Ryan is a 38-year-old father of three. And again, he's a busy guy. He has a whole entire family to take care of, and he's still able to get stuff done, okay? He works 10-plus hour days in high-stress jobs. Again, guys, and when I say 10 hours a day, he works 10 plus hours a day, okay? He works overtime and he will be there from 5 a.m. to midnight, okay? So it's longer than 10 hours, trust me. But he also survived a life-altering chainsaw accident, okay? Requiring surgery, and it was a long recovery, okay? He told me, and I don't know if this is too much information, but when the chainsaw hit him, you could see his brain. And the fact that he was able to bounce back from that and realize, okay, he could have just settled and been like, this accident happened to me. I really can't do anything with my life. He said no to that and attacked life and said, I'm going to bounce back and I'm going to get into shape. So if you have any excuses, I don't think you should. So I don't know what you've been through, but this seems pretty tough to, get through. So he was struggling with low energy, a poor body image, lack of routine, and feeling stuck in a cycle of bad habits. And again, most of the people that come to me and, are struggling with this type of stuff, they are ready to make that change as well. They have the same mindset as Ryan. So Ryan's not the only one that has this type of mindset shift. There's been other guys, but today we're going to highlight exactly how Ryan was able to make that transformation with that mindset shift, but also with the right information, okay? So a lot of people, I get that you could be struggling with this, but there's a way out, I promise. You just got to be willing to put in the work. So this isn't just a weight loss story. It's a complete lifestyle turnaround. So the power of a personalized system, okay? We didn't just throw him a cookie cutter plan like a lot of people do. We had to make sure that everything is catered to his body and his goals, okay? So if that's his meals, we make sure that every single meal is based off the foods that he likes, and it's all his macros and calories are added up to his body details, okay? So it's not a cookie cutter plan, it's catered to his body. So we started off with a deep onboarding call, so we find out things like identifying his favorite foods, non-negotiable, disliked foods and allergies. Equipment access, again, he only had a garage set up, so he only had a bench, barbell, and dumbbells. Again, if you don't have a gym, there's no excuse. You don't even need these three things. You could do body weight workouts just fine and still see the results that you want. Obviously, gyms do help and are beneficial. That's why they're there. But if you don't have access to one, you can still get into the shape that you want, all right? You just got to actually be willing to put in the work. Do that 300 push-ups that day, But we also go over if there's any history of injuries or mobility issues, time availability and stress levels, and everything was just a custom fit to his life, okay? Not the other way around. This ensures that everything that I gave him is catered to his body and his goals, like I said before. So actually calculating the blueprint, okay? So step one, use the TDE calculator to find his baseline caloric needs, okay? His maintenance calories. Step two, input data into a macro calculator to estimate ideal macro ranges, okay? His protein, carbs, and fats. Step three, adjusted calories for a mild deficit, 250 to 300 calories below maintenance. So going on that deficit, again, you want to build up a tolerance, which we'll go over further on in the presentation. But we had to build up a tolerance with Ryan and do it the correct way. Because if you're just going to drop 750 calories and go on that much of a deficit, you're going to be starving. Step four, build his meals around his favorite foods to ensure sustainability and adherence, okay? And then step five, created a protein-first structure to retain lean mass while losing fat. Again, we want to make sure that Ryan does not become skinny fat. Again, he can lose all the weight that he wants and look like crap, or we could do it the correct way where he has that packed on muscle, which you guys will see in his transformation pic that he definitely built some muscle. And it was proven that he built some muscle as well, scientifically, which we'll explain further on. All right, moving on to the TDE calculator, okay? So the TDE calculator is your total daily energy expenditure. It estimates how many calories your body burns in a day, taking into account your basal metabolic rate, your BMR, which is calories burned at rest, just to keep you alive, okay? It also goes over your physical activity, how active you are during the day, exercise, walking, etc. And then your thermic effect of food, okay? Energy used to digest and absorb food. And as you can see here, guys, before we go any further, you can look up TDE calculator on the internet, and this is the website that's going to pop up, okay? It's that easy. Just look up TDE calculator and you can find your maintenance calories. So what we did here was plug in all of his data, his age, he was 38 years old, gender, male, height, 5'10", weight, 185 pounds, okay? He exercises 1 to 3 times a week, so that's what we put in. Then you hit calculate, and then right here, it's going to give you your maintenance calories. He was at 2,427. Again, this is a rough estimate, but based on all this data, that's exactly what it gave us, all right? So, and the app is, or not the app, the website is actually pretty cool because it will tell you exactly the deficit that you should go on if you want to lose half a pound a week or a pound a week. And then you could also go all the way up to 2 pounds a week. But again, you don't want to lose or go on too much of a deficit because you don't want to be skinny fat. We want to make sure that you guys are holding onto your packed on muscle, okay? All right, so the macro calculator. A macro calculator helps you figure out how much protein, carbs, and fats you should eat each day based on your goals, body type, activity level. It turns your daily calorie needs into a simple, personalized nutrition plan to help you lose fat, build muscle, or maintain your weight, okay? Now, with the macro calculator, you got to make sure that you're fitting all your protein, carbs, and fats, your macros, into that calorie deficit that you're going on, okay? Because if you're just, throwing different macros in there, different protein levels and stuff like that, you got to make sure that your percentages come out evenly. It should add up to 100%, okay? It also gives you options like, do you want to have a higher protein diet? Do you want to have a higher carb diet? You can balance out your macros however you like, but I suggest going on a higher protein diet so you can pack on that muscle or keep that muscle mass rather than losing it all. So when Ryan came to me, he was 185 pounds, working long hours with limited time. He had a goal of losing fat while building muscle. So he used a macro calculator to determine his daily calorie needs for fat loss with energy to sustain his job and family life. Set his protein intake high, around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight he is. Again, if you guys are not doing that, you're crazy, unless you guys are around 350 pounds plus, or maybe even higher than that, or a little bit lower, right? It is harder to get your protein in. So again, the macro calculator will tell you exactly how much you should be eating, but you don't have to be eating 350 grams of protein. You can do less. The macro calculator will tell you exactly how to do that, all right? So we set his protein intake high to maintain and build lean muscle, curb hunger, and support recovery, especially when he's lifting and running on limited sleep. So why high protein worked for Ryan, okay? It kept him full despite being in a calorie deficit. It helped him retain muscle mass while losing fat, which is why he dropped to 168 pounds looking lean and muscular and not just smaller, okay? Like I said, we didn't want him to get skinny fat. It supported his intense training and demanding lifestyle, working 10 plus hour days, 3 kids, and still crushing his workouts consistently. Like I said, that is mindset, all right? That's not information. This is application. You have the information, but if you're not willing to actually train intensely and work hard for what you want, even though you're working 10 plus hour days, having a family, then you're not going to get to where you want to be. You got to have that mindset shift. All right, so let's move into phase 1, reset the body. This was weeks 1 to 2, okay? So he obviously saw a lot of progress within these weeks, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? So the goal was just to reduce inflammation, improve digestion, regain control over eating patterns, okay? So just implementing the little things and going on a slight calorie deficit, he was able to see the results that he wants, okay? So the strategy was small deficit, protein with every meal, high volume, low calorie foods, hydration strategy, 90 to 120 ounces of water a day. Again, very easy way to do it, which a lot of my guys do it as well. You just get that gallon water bottle that tells you the exact times that you need to drink the water. You'll be drinking all of it no matter what, because you're supposed to drink it at a certain time. You'll look at your water bottle and you'll be like, oh, it's not empty yet. Get a gallon water bottle. It makes your life a lot easier, okay? And then daily morning weigh-ins and photos to assess water retention, okay? So the outcome was he lost his first few pounds of water weight, increased energy, and improved digestion, okay? So as we can see here, this was him before. Let's see if we can zoom in here. This is him before. 2 weeks later, just with a minor change in his lifestyle and his diet and his training, he was able to just look like this, okay? Look how less bloated he is and healthier he looks, okay? That's what you can do in 2 weeks. You just have to implement the right training, implement the right macros, and implement the right calories, and then execute, and you'll get there. Right here, this is what we weigh all of our guys in on. It's on Trainerize, okay? He plugs in his weight every single morning. As you can see, March 27th, 185 pounds, and then April 3rd, 180 pounds, all right? So phase 2, this is weeks 3 plus, we're dialing it in, okay? And we're still dialing it in. He's going to get shredded. Soon he's going to have 8-pack abs, okay? Again, in a year, he's working with me for a year, so by the end of this year, I think he's going to have an unreal transformation. I can tell you that based off the transformation that he already had. But increase the deficit slightly. We went 450 calories below maintenance, okay? So he built up that tolerance that we were talking about before. He went on a slight calorie deficit. Now we're going on more of a heavier one, okay? Because he built up that tolerance, and he's not going to be as hungry as he would if he just went on a 750 calorie deficit to begin with, okay? So weekly adjustments based on the weight trends and energy levels. We introduce calorie cycling, higher calories on more active days and lower on rest days. Ryan likes to eat rice cakes, and this is a great example of calorie cycling, okay? So on rest days, he's not going to eat those rice cakes that he would if he was going to train, okay? So before he works out, he eats 2 rice cakes, and then on rest days, he just doesn't include those rice cakes, okay? Because that's just extra carbs that we don't need. And he's not going to be burning as many calories if he's not training, right? It's pretty simple and clear. But we incorporated meal flexibility with go-to food substitutions like Greek yogurt for dessert cravings. Again, guys, there's so many alternatives out there you don't even understand. Instead of peanut butter, you got PB2 now. Instead of these horrible Ben & Jerry's ice creams, you have Ninja Creamies now, which is 150 calories for a whole tub of it, okay? So there's a bunch of alternatives out there. You just got to be willing to do it. You just got to execute, okay? You got to change old habits to new habits that are going to help you get 1% better every single day. And so the results was we saw noticeable fat loss, tighter midsection, and improved sleep and mood, okay? So again, you can see here, bloated, a lot of water weight, not a lot of muscle packed on. And right here, you could see it in his traps, his arms, his shoulders, and even in his abs are starting to poke out. This is exactly what you could do in weeks 3 plus, okay? This is exactly what you could do in a month. You could do this in 2 months. He was able to go from 185 to 168 in 2 months, okay? So it's pretty unreal. Next, we have the garage training plan, okay? So like I said, he doesn't have access to a gym, so he works out with his limited equipment, which was not a problem, okay? So this was designed around progressive overload split. Again, focusing on making sure that he's improving from last week's weights, sets, reps, and making sure that there is some type of improvement the next week, okay? So for push day, pull day legs, I gave him a lot more than all this, but this is just an example of what you can do with limited equipment, right? So incline dumbbell press, overhead press, push-ups, etc. Dumbbell rows, curls, inverted rows, under barbell, etc. Legs, goblet squats, RDLs, step-ups, etc., right? There's a lot of stuff that you can do, and even if you don't even have these dumbbells, there's a lot of body weight stuff that you can do and still see the results that you want, right? You just got to be willing to do that 300 push-ups that day. You can't be lazy. You can't be lazy if you want real results like Ryan or any of the guys that I'm working with. Like I said previously, there is a scientific reasoning as to why we know Ryan is packing on muscle, okay? His bench press PR went from 175 for 1 to 175 for 5 now, okay? So the fact that he's losing weight but also able to get stronger just shows that he's packing on muscle, okay? Because if he's upping his strength, then he's upping his muscle mass, okay? It's just science. So there's also weekly tracking using for reps, sets, and RPE, like I was just talking about. And then there's also video feedback from me to correct form and enhance technique. Again, an example was Ryan called me and he was like, hey, I'm squatting, and he hasn't squatted in a long time, or I don't know if he has before, but he called me and we made sure that his form was correct so he didn't hurt himself, because if he hurts himself, then we're stalling progress again, and that's something that we don't want. Again, I make sure that all of my guys are executing everything optimally so that there are no setbacks. So the accountability difference, okay? Accountability plays a huge role inside of Hardcore Fitness, okay? So for Ryan, he has daily meal photos submitted for real-time feedback, and everybody else does this as well. For example, right here, Ryan uploads his breakfast, lunch, and dinner all right here, okay? Every single day, I'm making sure that he does this. If he does not, then I text him again. If there's no response, I call him, okay? That's how the accountability measures are kind of played out with your meals, but everybody else has to do this as well. Weekly check-ins via Google Meet to reassess everything. Like right here, me and Ryan are just chatting up. We're assessing exactly how his previous week went. If anything is not up to T or something's not going right, then we'll adjust that just so we can make sure for the next week that it goes accordingly, right? We want to make sure that he's seeing maximum results that he could get. So weekly group calls every Sunday for community support. This is just awesome. All of us just chatted up. We're extremely excited to talk to each other, motivate each other. It's just a great time to, kind of go over everything and put a name on the face, right? Without this community, it's not as easy to be motivated. But with this, they see each other's wins every single day and they want to chase each other's results, right? Because maybe one person is at 198 pounds and the other guy's at 197 pounds. The guy's like, gosh, I got to get down to 197 pounds now, It's just a competition, but a friendly competition, we'll say. So weight is tracked every morning to monitor progress and troubleshoot plateaus, okay? So right here, as you can tell with Ryan, it's going down, and then it shot up a little bit right here. So we had to do some tweaking that week, and then guess what? It starts to go down again. So that just shows exactly why tracking your weight every single morning was important to me. I know some people do it weekly, but I like doing it every single morning because it's an accountability measure and a discipline measure. And every single day you look at your weight, you're like, oh, I just want to chase that next number, right? So that's kind of why I make them weigh in every single day, but it's also nice to see how it decreases, And then there's mental wins documented weekly, okay? So every single morning, I'm so excited to always see these texts in the morning. Woke up at 5 a.m. despite 3 hours of sleep, right? These guys are willing to go to the gym even though they have 3 hours of sleep, okay? That's the type of mindset that they're in. Even though they didn't get the sleep that they want, they're still doing the things that they need to do. Like I said, there's a version of you that doesn't do anything, is tired and just lays down and sleeps. And then there's a version of you that actually goes to the gym, gets it done, and then goes to sleep, all right? You have to make different decisions in your lifestyle if you want to actually make changes in your lifestyle, all right? So why this works. People don't fail from the lack of knowledge. They fail from the lack of support, okay? There is so much support inside of Hardcore Fitness. Every single morning, people are texting each other, hey, where are the push-ups? Hey, good job today. No way. Nice PR set. Dude, I need to get down to that much weight. There's just a lot of support, okay? And there's a lot of motivation as well. So let's go over building a sustainable system, okay? So we taught Ryan how to prep meals fast, even with kids around, navigate work lunch meetings, stay on track during family events without being restrictive, and eat out and still hit his goals, okay? And like I said, community is everything. That's why I built this. I wasn't going to just build something where I'm one-on-one coaching someone. Obviously, that could still change someone's lifestyle, but I want to make sure that my guys have a community and they all get to put a name on the face, know each other, right? That's why I built this community. Ryan shows up weekly to share his wins. He has helped newer clients with motivation and advice. Our hardcore group isn't just about fitness. It's about leveling up every area of your life. Like I said, if you are not willing to have a complete lifestyle turnaround, this isn't going to be for you. But if you are willing to change exactly what you're doing, your bad habits for good habits, you can see the results that you want. So hardcore fitness is not just about upgrading your physique, it's about upgrading your mindset as well. So there's also built-in peer pressure and positive reinforcement. This is why Ryan's results aren't temporary, they are forever, okay? I don't build this community and I don't build people's meal plans, training plans, and all this stuff just so they have 6 months of progress and then after that fall victim to the person that they used to be. No, they do this for the rest of their life and they're able to set up generations with health, right? I always like to say this, there's no generational wealth without any type of generational health. The real reason this worked, it wasn't magic macros or any fancy supplements. It was a plan designed specifically for him, structure he could follow through on, daily accountability, and an emotional buy-in to become a better father, husband, and leader, okay? And all of the above, discipline on the hard days. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to get the results that you want. If you are disciplined, follow everything to the T, you're going to get the results that you want. If you stay consistent with it, it's going to change so many areas in your life, okay? So with that said, I have an opportunity for you. If you're ready to transform your mindset and physique with a motivated group of guys, book in a call with me with the link in the description to see if you will be a good fit. I'm excited to talk to you guys. If you guys want to change your whole entire lifestyle and join that motivated group of guys and make the results like Ryan, link in the description. Book in a call with me. Look forward to talking to you. Peace.